What's up, guys?
What's up? Today we got some NFL, some UFC. Let's get into it. All right, first we're going to start off with going off some recent franchise tags. Let's start off with Kyle Pitts. What are your thoughts on that?
It completely destroys the thought of Njoku going to Atlanta, the prediction I made last week. So I am once again putting another tally on the miss side of the spectrum. But, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for Atlanta and what they want to do. They don't give a crap about what some random guy in Central Texas thinks. It made a lot of sense. Kyle Pitts, he's a Pro Bowl player, and he showed that last year. He did really well. Probably his best year outside of his rookie season, I think, where he had a little over 1,000 yards. He just seemed like he was fitting into the offense better, and with Kevin Stefanski, he really likes his tight ends, so he's going to do wonders for him. It'll be fun to see what he can draw up and how he can incorporate Pitts in that offense. But for all these other teams that needed a tight end and they were narrowing in on Kyle Pitts, their dreams are crushed.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle Pitts, he had a lot of hype coming out of the draft. A lot of people were calling for Atlanta to go ahead and give up on the Kyle Pitts project. They did pick him pretty high there, so can't blame them. As soon as things finally start trending up for him, for them to want to go ahead and give it another year. If I was in their spot, I'd definitely be doing the same thing. Going into the market trying to find another tight end, you got plenty, but when you've got a really capable one with plenty of talent, all of the statistics, all of his dimensions as far as length, size, and everything he provides, there's not a lot of guys out there that give you everything that he does, which is pretty much a wide receiver at the tight end position. So I think it was a really great move for them. And moving forward, ultimately, I don't think he's going to be able to stay in Atlanta. I don't think he goes past this next season. That's my prediction. But you never know. We've seen crazier stuff. So that's pretty much my thoughts up there.
His biggest thing against him was his inconsistency. The seasons that he's been with Atlanta, he didn't really have any crazy stats that flashed out. Any pretty solid games with maybe 70, 80, 90 yards receiving, touchdown here and there. But last year, towards the end of the season, I think they were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was Thursday night, and that was his coming out party. He had over 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, just looked unstoppable. And for the Falcons and Falcons fans, it took a long time to see that potential because you knew that was his potential. That's his ceiling. So taking 3 years to get to that ceiling, I don't blame him for putting a franchise tag on him this year and, like you said, being done with him the year after. So this is just the first domino effect of the NFL offseason, one of the first. And it's crazy because one decision can impact half of the other league. This is just the beginning. Franchise tag deadline is, I think, next Tuesday. So things are starting to spice up, and it's going to be hot.
Definitely. Before we move on from Kyle Pitts, we talked about he had a lot of hype, then it just really hasn't panned out. These are the quarterbacks he's been playing with. Matt Ryan, obviously he had his rookie season, but then you have Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, and Taylor Heinicke. And then I don't know how much he's played with Cousins. Obviously that was the 24 season along with Penix, but it's tough. It's tough out there for a tight end when you got guys like that throwing you the ball. So I'm not saying it's all on the QBs, but definitely it's going to be interesting to see what he can do here with Stefanski and with who they decide to move forward with at quarterback. All right, we're going to get into George Pickens now. What are you thinking on that one?
Well, Stephen Jones said that they're leaning towards franchise tagging George Pickens, whatever the hell that means. You're either going to franchise the guy or extend him or let him go into free agency. So it's just the Joneses being Joneses, and everybody's trying to keep up with them. So it would be best for them to extend the guy. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm thinking T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. The Bengals did the same thing with them, and that left nearly $100 million on 2 receivers, and you got to fill the rest of your roster with the remaining $200 million. So that's really tough. You're thinking another team that did that, something similar to that, was the Eagles with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But there's really no other track record or teams that have done anything like that. So Yes, Cowboys fans, I'm sure they're telling Jones to sign the guy, extend him. But you have to think of it logically also. You already have a wide receiver 1. Maybe you can go get another wide receiver 2 like Mike Evans. He's from Texas. Or some other tier 2 receiver outside of Pickens that would cost half the money. And still, I think would do wonders in that offense because it's just high-flying offense. Put anybody in there just about, and they can succeed. But, yeah, it's just interesting. Like, man, let him go. But at the same time, you're always fighting that battle in your head of, but he's the best receiver in free agency. He's like an all-pro type player, and you can't give that up. But he's going to cost a lot of money. What are you thinking as a Cowboys fan?
I think you can definitely say that George Pickens is a true number 1. So I think you're right from that aspect. I'm definitely happy if they do choose to franchise tag him. I think that's the best move at this point. Give it another year and see if he's willing to do a more team-friendly deal. He had a really good year this year. The chances are he's not going to have that great of a year, especially if CeeDee Lamb's going to play the whole season. So that's what I'm anticipating there. As far as the Joneses and what they're doing, their track record shows they're not going to do anything until the very last minute just to keep us here talking. So we don't have to spend too much time here on this. Pretty much, I think it's safe to say they're going to franchise tag him. I think Pickens is aware they're going to franchise tag him, or else he'd be throwing a fit. We've seen if he wants to be vocal about something, he definitely does not hesitate to do so. So I think if he was upset at all, we would definitely be hearing something. So I think it's a mutual agreement between them. They're going to wait till the last minute, and this isn't the first time we've seen that from them. So that's what I'm thinking there. And I think it's the right move, like I said, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And they just extended Javonte Williams, too, so that whole offense is going to be the same next year. If they just get that defense average, at the most average, they'll be all right.
No. Yeah, they're not average. They're pretty bad. I think they're the second worst in the league. So definitely that's got to be the biggest thing. Looking forward into the draft here. I would be happy with the all-defensive draft coming from them here in the next couple months. They released Logan Wilson as well, so you know they're not anticipating doing anything with him there at linebacker. And then they've got the new DC in line, so it's pretty exciting to see what they do. I am happy with the decision with the new DC and new blood. Hopefully that brings some new life to the defense. And then, yeah, that's pretty much what I got there. As far as the new signing at running back, I really loved what he did last year. I also really wanted them to get someone with more experience, someone more flashy. That's me being greedy and selfish. But as long as this kid can stay healthy, he's a good, productive back, man. And that's really all you need with all the other weapons you got on this offense. So you can't blame him there. They had a good quality back at home. They signed him. They just need to keep him healthy, and hopefully all this stuff works out. Like I said, the defense is the biggest problem. You can sign as many people as you want on that offense, but you're not going to get any better than what we put out this last year if you don't do anything on the defense. So,
yeah, it's a great point. And if they're concerned for Williams' health, they could go get Tyler Algier as a solid running back number 2. Gosh, Rico. They could go bring back Rico to Dallas as a running back number 2. So they got options. They don't have to go make they've already made the somewhat splashy move by extending Javonte. But yeah, somebody like one of those 2 players just to kind of relieve some pressure off of him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it, that's for sure. One running back they are not getting is Breece Hall, it sounds like. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, the owner came out today and said that they are intending to franchise tag Breece Hall. So these owners are going out and saying they're leaning on the fence. They're not going to give you a complete answer until the day of franchise tag deadline. So not surprised. It does suck for Breece Hall. I know he hates the Jets organization. He despises them. He wants to be out. He has voiced that for the last 2 years. So as a Texans fan, I made a prediction. I was really wanting to go get Breece Hall because he is, again, he's another Pro Bowl level player that would be available, and he would completely change the Texans offense. But that is looking more and more less likely now. So The only option the Texans have now is Kenneth Walker, and hopefully the Seahawks don't pull a pin out of that one and decide, oh, you know what, we do want to franchise tag Kenneth Walker, because then we're screwed.
Right. I'm pretty happy with the decision. The Jets, it's rough. It's like, what exactly can you be excited about? What exactly difference does it make Breece Hall being in the backfield when you've got not very many pieces to work with as far as a full cohesive team goes? It's good for the Jets fan base. They have a little something to look forward to. I don't think when we talk about if you were to put in a middle of the pack running back, I don't think Breece Hall is going to make that much of a difference when you have that team surrounding him. Now, if you put him on a different team, like the Texans per se, then he's in a position to win you some real football games. So I think that's the difference. I think good for Breece Hall to get some top-end NFL money in the franchise tag, which is what he's going to get for this next year. And hopefully they can work something out. I don't think he's going to stay a Jet for long after this year. Same with what I said about Pitts. So we'll see what he does. I'd really like to see Breece Hall in a better situation to see what he can actually do with a solid O-line and some good scheming around him.
And who knows, maybe the Jets will surprise us all, but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm not going to put any money on it, but like I said, you've seen crazier things. So
Yeah.
next we're going to go over some free agents. You want to get into that?
Yeah, let's kind of do like a tier list of position groups. First up, obviously, we got to go with QBs. So I'm looking at the names for free agency. Kyler Murray, Tua, Malik Willis, Indiana Jones, a.k.a. Daniel Jones. Then you have Kirk. Mac is not being traded from the 49ers. They're not high-quality starters by any means, but they're still solid QBs in the NFL. So Kyler Murray, the new coach, Mike LaFleur, went out and said he's not shutting any doors or burning any bridges to having Kyler Murray traded away or removed from Arizona. So it'll be interesting to see what develops, because a QB-needy team such as the Jets, they wouldn't mind sending some draft capital, maybe a player to go and get Kyler Murray, because the Jets have not seen a QB at Kyler Murray's level in probably over a decade. And that's not saying much, because Kyler Murray's not a knock your socks off kind of talent right now in his career. So it will be interesting to see what happens to Kyler. Next, you got Tua. Dolphins are in a hell of a predicament down there. Do they hold on to the guy who has done nothing for them the last 2 years, and it just seems like it's a very toxic environment with him down there with the team? They're more than likely they're going to release him. There's some deadline date for June 1st or post June 1st that before and after that day saves millions and millions of dollars on these contracts. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I know they're going to do something like that, and they might release them. They might trade them. I don't know too many teams, even QB-needy teams, that would want to take Tua with that kind of money tagging along with them. I'm really high on Willis right now. Just the way that he played 3 or 4 games last year when Jordan Love was out, and just the development that he's had the last 2 years with Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. He looks really good, man. He's reminding me of Lamar Jackson, and that was his comp coming into the draft and into the league. He's Lamar Jackson-esque. So to see him finally get into that rhythm and look more comfortable, make really good plays, really good reads, really good throws, I'm happy for him. And it'll be exciting to see where he goes. Then you have Indiana Jones. There's a long list. Do you want to talk about those for a little bit first?
Yeah, I think let's go over the top 5 that you said. Tua, Murray, Willis, Kirk, and Jones. I'm going to go ahead and go my ranking from 5 to 1. This isn't consideration for team specific, because if it was for a certain team, then obviously the rankings change. But if we're just saying, boom, someone has to quarterback your team for this season, who are you going to choose? This is my ranking. I'm going to start with number 5. Unfortunately, I love the guy. Super nice, super down to earth, it seems, super faith-based. So I love him. It hurts me to do this. But Kirk, he is at the bottom of my list. He's number 5. I love what he did in Minnesota. Obviously, it didn't work out in Atlanta. The dude's pretty old now. It's rough for me to envision him going to a new team, starting over again. When you're talking about him, you're talking about a bridge quarterback, someone who's going to quarterback your team maybe 2 to 3 years max until you get really the guy you want for the next foreseeable future. So that's why he's at 5 for me. If we're saying we have to play a game tomorrow and you got to win or you die, then he's up higher on the list for me. Well, we're talking on future outlook for the team, going through a full season. Right now, he's at the bottom of the list, and it was pretty close, honestly. Pretty close to number 4, who I have is Tua. Really, the only thing that beat him out for me over Kirk was his age. So, this guy, he's short, doesn't have too much going for him at this point. Another big mark on him for me is the health concerns. Is like the dude going to be twitching on the field every 3 games? Because if that's the case, then I can't have him on my team. So hopefully the kid can stay healthy. Hopefully he plays a long, healthy career and he makes me put my foot in my mouth. But right now he's at 4 for me. And again, that was really close between him and Kirk. Next, number 3, I've got Malik Willis. Biggest thing for me was the sample size. We do not have a lot to see from him. It's not like he was playing in Georgia, Alabama. This guy's coming out of Liberty. He played great in college. We haven't seen much from him in the pros. The games that we did see, it's a small sample size, like you said. He ran really well in those games, but we've seen crazier things, man. Like, there was a lot of hype, what it reminds me of behind Brock Osweiler when he filled in. He had a good several games, and then he got this huge contract, and then it's like, bro, doesn't know how to throw a football. So that, ever since his whole ordeal happened, I'm like super, like, I got to see more from you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. On the other hand, if he's super affordable and it's like, what do I got to lose? And you're the Jets, like, yeah, get that guy. Right now, for me, he's at number 3 on the list. Then we got Daniel Jones. If you asked me this 2 seasons ago, this dude would be at number 5. But what he's done at the Colts, he's shown he can be a productive QB. He can lead a team. He's still physical. What he's able to do on his feet, I think, is super underrated. So, yeah, for me, he's number 2. Obviously, the injury is the biggest thing. Is he coming back? Is he the same guy? At the end of the day, he's definitely a safe backup. So, I'm definitely taking that guy. And he's going to compete for a starting position in most places. Then at number 1, I've got Call of Duty All-Star, Call of Duty Pro Bowler, Kyler Murray. Coming in at number 1. Just the potential, everything he brings to the table puts him over the top for me when it comes to this list. When he's at his best, he's able to win you games. He's able to be flashy. He needs a change of scenery. We said that before. We said that about Tua as well. You get him somewhere else, get him refocused, get him into better shape to where he's moving like he was in his first couple seasons. And I think the team's really got a diamond in the rough on this one. The outlook isn't looking good for him in Arizona. So honestly, I'd take him if I was any team. He's still relatively young. If you have an older quarterback and he's able to step in right after him, I think there's a lot of flexibility with him with a lot of teams. So he's definitely number 1 on my list, and that's what I got for those 5.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that list. You nailed everything. I'm high on Willis, but like you said, sample size is very small. Is he going to be a proven starter in the league next year? We'll see. Somebody might jump on him, especially if he's on a bargain, like you said. So, Indiana Jones, it's going to be fascinating because how can you not extend the guy after what he did for your franchise last season before he got injured? And then before the team just spiraled out of control with injuries. The first 8 weeks of the season, he was the best quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. And it's just everything you see, everywhere you see, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones. This Colts' high-flying offense. And he did amazing things for the Colts last year. And that's hard to say coming from a Texans fan. But there's no way that they don't pay him. Even with the Achilles injury and however long that might take, he might not be the same coming back. It took Aaron Rodgers a whole nother year after to finally look somewhat reminiscent of himself again. So next year, they might, this coming off season, they might extend him, sign him to a nice contract with the full expectations of he might not look the same in 2026. So we need to be prepared for that. But the other one, Kyler Murray, you said it. He's not the best quarterback in the league. There's I'd say 10 more QBs in the league that are better than him. But when he is on, when he is healthy, when he is focused, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league with his legs. Just stay away from the screens in the PlayStation controllers and the Xbox controllers, and he'll be fine. He'll find a nice suitor, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely getting no access in my NFL facility to the game room. Yes, no access to the game room. He can be in the gym, anywhere else. Cafeteria, feel free. Just stay out of like you said, stay away from the screens. Back on Daniel Jones. The Colts are in a great position. I would love to see them give Jones a try again, but they're in a good position because they've got Anthony Richardson still there. Obviously, he looked like, for what he's been playing, I think he's been historically bad in the games that Anthony Richardson's been playing. We could bring up the stats and the comparisons, but I don't think we need to do that. At the same time, Anthony Richardson shows a lot of the intangibles that Kyler Murray does. So I think there's even been discussion of them putting him at a different position, like using him as a utility on the outside or something like that, which I would love to see as well. So I think the Colts are in a really good spot. You've got two of those guys who are potentially affordable. Daniel Jones is definitely going to take a team-friendly deal like he did in New York. So that's where I'm at. The Colts are in a pretty nice position. And as far as Murray, it would be really exciting, like you said, to see him anywhere else besides the Cardinals.
Yes. The Colts have quite the predicament because they have Michael Pittman Jr. He's coming towards the end of his last contract. He's a solid and productive wide receiver. And his contract, I think, is around $22 million this year. So they're looking at a franchise tag. A guy that really had his coming out party last year was Alec Pierce. And he just reminds you so much of Deshaun Jackson and his years in Philadelphia. Just the deep threat that he possesses. And he's a pretty big guy out there also. He's not as small as Deshaun Jackson, but he has the speed, he has the deep threat. So it's leaning like they're going to franchise tag him, Alec Pierce, that is. And he had his most productive season with Daniel Jones. He had over 1,000 yards, close to, I think, 7-8 touchdowns. So he had a really productive year. So, yeah, the Colts are in quite the predicament here. They have a lot of options. It'll be fun to see what they do. This time of year is always fun. No football, but there's a lot of speculations, a lot of plays off the field that impact the next year and what these franchises do moving forward for the foreseeable future. So it'll be fun. If we want to continue with wide receivers, two other receivers, we already talked about Pickens and just talked about Alec Pierce. But we also have Mike Evans and Romeo Doubs. Those are two other receivers that are sticking out to me this offseason. They're going to find new homes, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go. Mike Evans, he's from Houston. I'd love to see him in Houston. But if the Cowboys do not franchise tag George Pickens, I think that's a really good spot. Makes a lot of sense for Mike Evans to go into Dallas and play.
Yeah, obviously I'd love to see him in Dallas. I do think it's like a pipe dream because I do think they're going to go ahead and tag Pickens. But obviously I'd love to see it. Him in Houston, I'm missing the name. Who's y'all's number one right now? I apologize.
Nico Collins.
Yeah, Nico Collins. You're going to have Tank Dell next year? Is that correct?
Yep, he'll be ready to go next year, but
his knee was looking
gets
like
me scared every time.
His knee's looking like a
me.
freaking chewed up tire right now. I saw that video of him working out. It's not looking good. I mean, his knees
they're trying to hype it up.
bulging
They're
out the
trying to hype
side.
this recovery. They're trying to hype it up, and you can't fool me.
Yeah, it's rough. But anyways, what I was getting at is if you get Nico Collins, if you get Dalton Schultz, if you get Tank Dell back at even 80% of what he was, and you add Mike Evans, I think you're being greedy. But that would be amazing to see all of them together. If CJ Stroud cannot win with that, then you got some serious issues. On top of that, you've got the generational defense on the other side, so that really makes that team a juggernaut, in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, seeing him Houston, Dallas. I think cool spot for him to go. I don't know if he would like going there, but to see him go to Cleveland with Shadur, I think that team could really benefit from a veteran presence, someone that's won a Super Bowl. You've got them, you've got Mike Evans, you've got Myles Garrett, Shadur Sanders. I think it really just adds an element to that team that they really need, which is a jump start on offense and a veteran presence that knows how to win. So that's just me throwing that one out there.
They'd have to pay him a crap ton of money.
Really, at this age? At this age?
Oh, yeah, for him to go to Cleveland?
I mean, does he want to win? That's my thing. He's already won. So, like, yeah, they would definitely have to be the highest bidder. But what is he actually what is the actual market for him at this age? Obviously, for him, he would want to go to a team like the Rams, like the Patriots, potentially. Like, he would definitely be super valuable to those teams, push them over the top, potentially. But that definitely could see the appeal to a team like the Browns, like the Jets. Another one, the Jags, who could really use someone to really elevate their team and give them experience on how to win.
Yeah. Speaking of the Jags, Brian Thomas Jr. had a horrendous season last year. He had the biggest sophomore slump I've seen in years. And I just don't see the Jaguars continuing on with him. They have Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington. They're all utility guys. They do what they do really well, and that's rotational players. But, yeah, Mike Evans would look great there. And I could see the Jaguars trading Brian Thomas Jr. for a good return to a team that needs a solid wide receiver out wide. So, yeah, I love that a lot.
Any other wide receivers? You said another name. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Romeo Doubs. He's another one of those. He's not going to scare you like crazy by any means.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a star player, but he is
He's a solid receiver. He's productive for sure.
You don't know if that was solely because of Matt LaFleur, or maybe he is that talented and he can be a wide receiver too somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. For him, with the way that team's moving, I do think they're on the up and up. They've got a young team. They've got Jordan Love, who's a young QB. So you'd think he'd like to stay there and continue and win with that team. But if we had to see him move, I definitely wouldn't be against it. I think there's plenty of teams that would be happy to take him. A lot of the teams that we just said. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I know the Packers are definitely, you would think, would want to keep them. Who are their quality wide receivers?
It's like a revolving door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Since this has gone, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, like you said, since Adams is gone, it's just kind of been like a revolving door. Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, he's always hurt. Then Romeo Doubs. So nobody that's a true wide receiver one, like you were saying.
Yeah, so you're potentially talking about their best wide receiver, and you've got to think they'd want to keep them. But at the same time, if you're going to sign a wide receiver and pay some good money, you might as well get someone that's going to be a true number one. And I don't think Dobbs has proven that he's capable of that yet. So,
yeah. And for running backs, I had 3 names down. One of them is already gone after today, Breece Hall. The other 2, I would still be completely happy with this. Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne are my other 2 options. And I'm speaking from a Texans mindset, so one of those 2, we go and get them, I would be very happy.
Yeah, I think anyone would be happy getting either one of these guys. Kenneth Walker obviously is going to be a really high value one. Travis Etienne, he's proven he can be your top running back. He's going to be able to be your bell cow, carry the load. It's not exactly so flashy, but he's going to get the job done. So, yeah, I think we've talked about potential landing spots for Walker. I've definitely said that I want him in Dallas, but anyone would take him at this point. And then, for Houston, Etienne, Walker, both of those guys would be great. So it's going to be exciting to see, particular for me, Walker. Obviously, everyone wants to see where he's gone after that amazing MVP performance. It's hard for me to imagine him in a different jersey. he would definitely be scary going to a team like the 49ers, a team like that's already up or in that top upper echelon. Like if he went to somewhere like the Patriots, I would hate to see Kenneth Walker in the backfield with Drake May. Again, those are some teams that could really make some teams shaking their boots, putting him in the backfield. So,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a couple other of those contenders for Super Bowl outside of Seahawks, outside of the Patriots, maybe the Chiefs.
yeah, Pacheco, I'm surprised they even stayed with him for that long. That dude is like butt to me. I'm going to get killed for this. Yeah, I'm going to get killed for this. But, bro, when I watch him run, I'm like, why are they giving this dude the ball? Like, of all the running backs that you could choose from, like, he just seems like, I get it. He's gritty. He's tough. You win a Super Bowl with him. But at the same time, it's like, the dude's just like, I don't know. He just doesn't have it for me. And obviously, he's been productive. I'm crazy. I get it. I just don't like him. So, sue me, whatever. But yeah, you put Walker, you put Etienne back there in the backfield, I think you're going to be able to see a difference. Yeah. Green Bay, they don't need a running back. They've got Josh Jacobs. So I'm trying to think of another contender. Yeah.
Maybe Minnesota, maybe? I know they didn't contend last year.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have a running back. With Kevin O'Connell, he's always going to, he might have one down year, but he's always going to do the best that he can and for the most part succeed with whatever quarterback he has. He proved that with Kirk Cousins and he proved that with Sam Darnold last year. And
yeah,
it would be cool to see Kirko go back to Minnesota.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I know it's kind of a shaky situation over there at QB. Am I crazy thinking Jones is the running back over in Minnesota?
He is, but he's just so old.
Can you tell me
he had an okay
first name?
Aaron Jones?
Sorry, it's killing me. Okay, Aaron Jones. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I just don't think he's got it since he's left Green Bay. It was cool seeing him in that situation, but yeah, J.J. McCarthy, you're going to help him out substantially if you put a running back in the backfield to protect him, not only to score, run, do all that good stuff, but for protection. Putting Walker back there or Etienne. I know Jones is a really experienced vet, but he's had a couple seasons there. So yeah, I'd love to see someone with a higher caliber of player like Walker, like Etienne in the backfield with McCarthy, with whoever they decide to run with. I definitely think would be a benefit for the Vikings.
Yeah. And unfortunately for Kenneth Walker, his opportunities are slim for those higher elite teams because I'm thinking those elite teams already have a solid running back on the team. The Bills, they have James Cook. You have, outside of the Seahawks, the Seahawks, they need a running back. The Ravens have Derrick Henry.
The Rams come
CMC.
to mind. Who's the Rams running back? It's that light-skinned kid.
Williams. Yeah, Kyren Williams.
I know he had a good couple seasons. I don't know how many yards he rushed for, but definitely if they upgraded and had a 1-2 punch, that would be awesome to see as well.
Can you imagine that offense? Holy crap.
Yeah.
And everywhere you look.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the 49ers and Eagles if they were to do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's what we had for NFL. I think we're going ahead and good to move to UFC. You ready for it?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take it from the bottom of the main card. We had Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell. Nasty knockout. Jacoby Smith just looks like he has crazy fast twitch ability, crazy knockout power after what we saw there. The ref literally had to tackle this guy to get him off the opponent. His opponent had apparently been a recovered brain cancer survivor, and the dude's just bashing his head in. So that was rough to see. And then the ref's like pulling this guy off. At the same time, you'd love to see the aggression, the potential. This guy has a really good outlook for the rest of his career. So Jacoby Smith, he's definitely on my radar. He's on everyone's radar. Brain cancer survivors cowering in the corner. Like, watch out, keep your head on a swivel. This guy is dangerous. So definitely to see some young, good blood. This guy's undefeated, 12-0. So it was exciting to see some new blood come in there and put on a dominant win like that. And both these guys were really good contenders. Josiah Harrell, he had a lot of potential going into this one. I think he still does. We're going to see him again in the UFC, I would think. So, like I said, it was a good bout between these two young guys. And, yeah, definitely one that stood out on the card.
One of the fights that stuck out to me was the last prelim. It was Angel Kwani against Leal. And man, if you're just getting into UFC like me and you want to see nonstop action for 15 minutes, that is the fight to watch, because these guys were just throwing haymakers and 1-2s and striking for the full 15 minutes. It was awesome. And yeah, the commentators were saying, wow, I can't believe these guys are not tiring out. They seemed gassed a little bit, but they weren't like, with the way that they were swinging or trying to protect themselves, looking just gassed and out of juice. They were still going. They were slinging until the final bell, and it was just a really good fight. To me, as somebody that is new to UFC, it's just awesome to watch strikers go at it nonstop.
Definitely, those are some of the best ones. It doesn't matter if either of these guys have made a name for themselves or anything. You get two guys that are just game and willing to duke it out for the full 15 minutes. It's definitely a sight to see. No matter if you're at the bottom of the card, these guys are still the best in the world fighting in the UFC. So, yeah, that one was definitely one of the more fun fights on the card for sure. Next, let's talk about Dan Ige, Melquizael Costa. That knockout was insane, man. Round 1, 4 minutes, 56 seconds. It is a spinning back kick to Dan Ige's face, and it was just like Bruce Lee out of a movie. Definitely did not see that one coming. So super exciting from Costa. Definitely going to watch out for this guy in his next fight. This is someone who had been winning plenty of fights and should have definitely been on my radar, but just his fight style wasn't too exciting for me. I definitely thought someone with a little more better ground game, better boxing was going to be able to overcome him. Dan Ige I thought was going to be way tougher of a test for this guy, and he just walked through him. Pretty much dominated that first round and then just ended it in the perfect way. So he's going to have a really good matchup. He already had a high-level matchup with Dan Ige, to speculate on who he's going to be going against next in this division is super exciting, and he's definitely someone we're going to be talking about again here in the near future.
How often is it you see a knockout with a back spinning kick like that?
Spinning back kick, you probably get like 2 or 3 a year, but spinning back kick to the face, I'd be surprised if we see another one in the UFC, because that's just insane. You know, Michael Page, Edson Barboza, those type of guys, they can do that all day, but those guys are older. So to be able to see these younger kids come in doing stuff like this, it's awesome to see. The sport is alive and well. Even though we see our heroes get knocked out every other week, these new guys are going to come in and fill their spots and hopefully take this sport to new heights and new levels that we haven't seen before. So I'm going to keep saying it, super exciting, super entertaining watching stuff like that. These guys are getting better with every year.
As a fighter, how do you prepare for all the moves and all the things that your opponent could do to you, like a back spinning kick to the face? Like how do you prepare for that, or is that in like your calculations when you're fighting the guy, or you have to do something maybe to like prevent that? Like how do you prepare for that?
Obviously, you look at your opponent and see what his tendencies are, right? That's the first thing. You watch film, you see, okay, he tends to do this, he tends to do that. At the ultimate, you can overanalyze. You can paralysis by analysis. So you can't prepare for everything. There's so many variables. We say this all the time. So at the end of the day, protect your head. Don't stick your neck out. Don't leave too many openings. That's the biggest thing. But the simple answer to your question is you don't. You're not able to prepare for everything that your opponent's going to throw to you. Your opponent at the same time knows you're watching film. He's either going to throw something at you that you weren't prepared for, or he's going to think he's so dominant that he doesn't have to change his fight style. All he has to do is be himself, and that's going to be enough to get him the title. So, yeah, I think there's some truth and some value to thinking that yourself is like, yeah, I know he does this, I know he does that, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to impose my will on him, and we're going to fight my fight. So, I'm by no means a fighter, but I do know that all that stuff goes into it, and there's no way you can possibly take all those things into account. But your job as a coach is to prepare your fighter for all those possibilities, the most likely outcomes that your opponent is going to come and present to you. And I'm sure Dan Ige wasn't going into there thinking, man, I got to watch out for this spinning back kick to the face. Like, I'm sure that's not what he was going in there thinking.
Yeah, a spinning back kick to the face, it just seems like watching it on screen, it takes him like so long to like develop. So to see it land, especially to the face, that's beautiful.
That's like seeing stuff like that is like the art in its truest form. Like to be able to pull that off on such a skilled opponent like Danny Gay. Yeah, it's awesome. I definitely wasn't expecting it from him, so it was great to see. Next we had Uros Medic. We talked about last week Jeff Neal. Possibilities going into this one. It's tough seeing someone with a lot of potential, with title possibilities. He definitely was a top-ranking contender at one point. This dude just got starched by Uros Medic. This was in tight. Man, this one was another one that was picture perfect. Uros Medic just landed the perfect shots, and Jeff Neal was just out cold, man. There's no other way to say it. So it's exciting as well seeing Uros, what he's able to do going into this next one. Definitely, Jeff Neal's a high-level opponent, so he's moving up the ladder as well. And we want to see him against some more high-level competition. So we'll be looking out for him. This was him in a co-main on a fight night, so he's moving up the cards as well, and he's building a name for himself. So we'll be looking out for him as well.
Another sick knockout.
Then we got the main event. Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez. Man, was I wrong about this one? Sean Strickland was in prime form, best shape of his career, in my opinion. Just dominated. Anthony Hernandez, I don't know what to say. He just didn't look like himself. I give Sean Strickland a lot of credit for that. He can be very smothering, just keep moving forward regardless of what the opponent is doing, and he just fought his fight against him and won. So kudos to him. He talked a lot of shit, backed it up, and it's looking like he's got the title fight next against Hamzat. I think everyone and their mom who knows anything about UFC can say that Hamzat is pretty much going to steamroll this guy, but it's going to sell a lot of, sell a lot of pay-per-views, but it's going to bring a lot of eyes to that matchup. And just because Sean Strickland, he's a character, he talks a lot of shit, and he's going to build a fight. So it's going to be a great build-up. It's probably going to be a smothering of a fight where Hamzat is just on his back smothering this guy and possibly puts him to sleep. But again, I've been wrong about crazier things before. So what do you think about this one?
Sean Strickland was looking like he did 5 years ago. Whenever he was fighting all those big names, looking vintage. So like you were saying, a word that stuck out to me was just smothering, and he looked like he was smothering Fluffy the whole time. Fluffy did not look like himself, and he was just being pressured nonstop. Once Strickland smells that blood, he's on go mode, and he didn't let up. So, yeah, Sean Strickland just really outmanned Fluffy. And post-fight conversations and talking to the media, Sean Strickland's already trying to build that fight up with Hamzat. He called him, quote, and I do quote, he's ready to mingle with that Chechnyan son of a gun, and he is a goat fucker. So he's already building that up.
Definitely. Goat fucker line's always going to hit. It always stings. Yeah, that was the card. It's like we're ready to get into our triumphant moment. You want to go ahead and start it off, or you want me to?
You go ahead.
All right, I'm going to start it off. I got to go with Melquizael Costa, man. I said, I owe him an apology. He was not on my radar at all. Maybe that makes me a bad fan, but, man, hearing his story, seeing what he did, how can you not make this guy a triumphant moment? His backstory, obviously being bullied as a kid with his skin condition. You look at stills of every past fight, not only of the UFC, but his earlier regional MMA days, and this guy just looks like a different person in every fight just because his skin condition is progressing as the days go by. So it's cool to see he's pretty much made that not a weakness but his identity and made it a strength. So you love to see that. He's embraced it. His fighter name is the Dalmatian. So this guy is like embraced it, turned it into a strength, and the most out of what he was dealt in life. And I think that's all you can do as a human. So props to this guy. Extremely triumphant. And yeah, he's the guy for me this week.
And he's a great example of what being triumphant and exceeding expectations, working with the cards you got, and just really going for it all, man. And that's super inspiring. My triumphant moment will also be in the UFC. Talked about that last fight in the prelims when Njokuani fought Carlos Leal. Apparently, a few years back, he lost a split decision, and it was pretty controversial. And just to see him come back and battle back through that, put up a fight like he did against Njokuani, who was a hometown favorite in Houston, and just going ham nonstop, just never letting his foot off the brakes, playing his game. He was taking a lot of hard shots, sometimes I would say unnecessary hits to the body, to the head, but he ate every single one of them and kept his foot on the gas. And he eventually ended up winning a unanimous decision by the judges. So right after that, he dropped to his knees and started crying. And it's just really inspiring because something like that is kind of like history repeating, where you have this super close fight. Are you going to win the split decision? Are you not? Is history going to repeat itself? And he ended up winning. And so for me, that's just very inspiring because a lot of times you can just give up, or you can be kind of pessimistic about your situation and how the cards are dealt not in your favor. And for him just to be motivated, locked in, focused on fighting, focused on being better, getting back up towards the middle echelon or towards the top, that's just really inspiring. It takes a lot for these fighters, and for him to come back and fight the way that he did, it showed a lot of heart.
Yeah, definitely. Not only that, but his last fight was against Salikov, and he got knocked out in the first 42 seconds. So to be able to come back from that and put on the performance that he did, taking all those shots, he's proved that his chin is still there and that he's not done with what he's got to do in this sport. So extremely triumphant, be able to persevere through that. People take a loss like that and retire. So for him to be able to move through that and not only move through it, but to get another win and a gutsy, gritty win like he did there, it takes a lot, man. And not many people on this earth are able to do that. So we definitely appreciate that. We see that. And yeah, it's a great choice.
All right, let's go ahead and close it. If y'all enjoyed it, go ahead and drop us a follow on YouTube. Give us a watch.
See y'all next week.